Sega was fierce competition to Nintendo in the early 1990s, but then they decided they haven't messed up in a while and came up with this, and this. While the Sega Saturn was a pretty cool console, it had a lot of problems with the botched launch, foreign architecture, and a lack of original games. Obviously, the main one here was a lack of an original traditional Sonic game on the system, which is weird for me to say considering that we almost get too many Sonic games nowadays. But even with the lack of a normal Sonic game, we did end up getting an original Sonic spin-off called Sonic R. And people hate this game. So, what exactly is Sonic R? Well, other than the fact it's where Sonic first started to be known as a laughingstock, we must go back to 1994 when Sonic Team decided they wanted to make a racing game using the Sonic cast. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Take a speedy cartoon rat, make a track, and watch him go. The Sonic Drift series had 2 games, and both of them had Sonic driving a car instead of running for some reason. This always struck me as odd because, like, why would he need a car? He's supposed to be the fastest thing alive on foot. But, whatever. Mankind only had to wait 2 years to see the day that Sonic would race on foot. It was 1996, and Traveler's Tales had just completed Sonic 3D Blast. Around this time, Sega looked at the Saturn and said, "Oh wow, we should actually release games on this system." So they approached Traveler's Tales again and asked them to make a Sonic game focused on racing. Traveler's Tales accepted the project because they already made a 3D game engine for the Saturn, but they had no products to put it to use. So, I don't get what was the point of making it if they weren't originally planning on using it, but okay. Sonic R officially released in North America on November 18th, 1997, with the Windows PC release coming a year later with slightly updated graphics, an improved frame rate, and external controller support. An updated version of the Windows port also came out in 2004, which allows you to run it on modern computers, but it did remove a few features, unfortunately. And can I say something here? What were they going for when they made the PC release? I mean, I'm glad it exists, but the entire point of Sonic R was to get a big exclusive on the Saturn that would attract customers. Why on earth would they port it to a device with a massive install base already and it was still growing? That would in no way influence them to get a Saturn when they could already get the same game on their PC. This also meant that the Saturn lacked any exclusive Sonic game. Sonic 3D Blast was originally on the Genesis, Sonic Jam is a compilation of all the old Sonic games for the Genesis, and now, just 1 year after its original release, Sonic R was on the very popular Windows. With all the Sonic games for the Saturn being available elsewhere for a better price, what is the point of buying a Saturn when you can just buy a PC and have access to way more features? There is no purpose. But that's about all I have to say about that, and we got a little off track, so let's get back on it. Sonic R initially released to mixed positive reviews, but as time goes on, it has consistently gotten more and more negative. For this review, I want to throw all bias out the window and give an honest review on the positives and the criticisms of the game, so without further ado, let's get started. It's fair to note that all the footage from this video is coming from the Windows version. This is simply because I don't own a Saturn, so I really can't play that version. So here is Sonic R. We start off with a pretty cool looking title screen accompanied with music that in no way fits a racing game, and it kind of gets on my nerves. For some reason, all the music in this game is atrocious, with the singer singing songs that only very vaguely match the level theme at all. The music isn't like the worst thing ever, but it doesn't fit a Sonic game, especially one that's all about racing. Also, on the title screen there is a 3DR, which you can completely control and even change its color, so that's pretty fun. Next, we have the main menu, and I think it's pretty and clean looking. Although, they could have kept some of the modes on the main menu rather than inside of the time trial mode, but whatever, that's just a nitpick. First, let's start with the Grand Prix mode. Grand Prix mode is essentially the same as Mario Kart's single player versus mode. You choose a character, you choose a course, and go. When you first boot up the game, you only have 4 characters unlocked, which are Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. There are 6 unlockable characters which, spoiler alert, are Eggman, who is the series antagonist, Metal Sonic, who is exactly what the name implies, Egg Robo, who is an enemy from Sonic 3, Metal Knuckles, and Tails Doll, who are both specifically made for this game, and finally, there's Super Sonic, which is a staple of the series. Every character in the game have their own characteristics and moves that they can perform, and let me tell you, some of them are a lot more broken than others. Sonic, Metal Sonic, and Super Sonic are a lot faster than everyone else in the game, and Sonic and Super Sonic can double jump, and Super Sonic and Metal Sonic can also hover over water. Super Sonic is fun and all, but honestly he can be way too fast for the controls in this game sometimes. Tails can fly for a short period of time, which can be used to skip portions of the stages. Knuckles can glide, and it's way more broken than Tails fly, as you can skip fairly big chunks of stages with it. Amy is bad. She has an annoyingly slow car that is able of doing a boost for a short period of time, and for some reason can drive over water. Next, Eggman and Egg Robo are essentially the same character, with both being able to fire a missile at other characters periodically, as well as being able to fly across water. Metal Knuckles is the same as Knuckles, but can hover over water. And finally, there's Tails' Daw. He's just bad. He's way slower than everyone else. He has the power to fly over water and fly slightly longer than normal Tails, but he's just so slow there's no benefit to playing as him, since you almost always lose, so it's really not worth it unless you just want to challenge yourself. Next, let's look up at the stages. We saw the stages. Yep, there's only 5 in this game, and none of them are optimal for a racing game. I always like when a racing game gives you optional paths to add a little bit of strategy, but I don't know, man, the stages in this game are just way too big and have way too many optional paths. This is mostly due to the fact to unlock most new characters, you must find 5 hidden Sonic coins in each level. Most are hidden in separate paths that cost rings to access. It can be well worth it, however, as these paths will also give you a shortcut to the end of the lab, but honestly, I think I'd prefer tracks that are much more straightforward. The track themes are also kind of weird for a Sonic game. There's a Resort Island, which is your normal Green Hill style level in the game. There's Radical City, which is a city that looks like it suffered a terrorist attack. Maybe that's why it has Radical in the name. Regal Ruin, which is indeed a Regal Ruin. Reactive Factory, which barely even resembles a factory. And finally, if you get first place on every prior course, you will unlock Rainbow Road. Oh, I'm sorry, Radiant Emerald. Yep, Sega completely ripped off Nintendo on this one, and it's just as obnoxiously long as the original. Also, every track starts with an R in this game, and the game is named Sonic R. Ha ha, I get it. The Grand Prix mode itself revolves around racing, obviously, but because the tracks are so big and the turns are too tight compared to your character's ability to turn, it can be difficult and annoying to traverse. As I kinda touched on earlier, some characters such as Knuckles can completely skip parts of levels by using their abilities. In every course there are 2 main collectibles, 5 Sonic coins and 1 to 2 Chaos Emeralds. Getting these reward you with new characters, but it's also extremely annoying to get these awards. In every stage, the Sonic coins are just scattered about, with some hiding behind ring doors, which requires you to collect a lot of rings to use to open the door. If you manage to collect all the coins, then you better get 3rd place or better, or you'll be doing it all over again. How fun! Chaos Emeralds are even worse though. After you get them, you have to get 1st place in the race, or say goodbye to 5 minutes of your life. Also, if you win a race or get 2nd place, the so-called victory music makes it sound more like you're at a funeral rather than it would for someone winning a race. Well, funeral does have fun in the name. To help you in the race, there are a variety of unimpressive power-ups and boost pads. The way you get the power-ups are kinda weird in this game. Instead of multiple boxes or something, there's just a few emblems scattered throughout the level. Running into them gives a power-up that takes effect immediately. The power-ups are as follows: 5, 10, and 20 ring power-ups, which give you 5, 10, or 20 rings. Sonic 3's electric shield that makes rings attractive to you, which actually lasts till you hit water, so it can last a while if you're playing as Knuckles or Tails. Speed shoes, which make you go at an even more uncontrollable speed, and a water shield, which allows you to walk over water. It will disappear after you cross one body of water. Like I said, nothing to write home about, but I'd rather have these power-ups here than not, and they serve as a nice bonus. Next, there are the dash panels. Basically, the more rings you have, the further and faster you'll go, but it does eat up all your rings in the process. This can be fun, but if you're going for the coins or the emeralds, they can lead to them being a pain, since while you're opening up the doors, NPCs are using the panels to get a big jump ahead of you, meaning you have to be fast to get either the top 1st or 3rd places. And that's about all I have to say for the Grand Prix mode. And while it is far from perfect, and there are a lot of annoyances, I actually did manage to enjoy playing this mode. I think it's all due to the fact that the game is so unbalanced that it's kind of fun in an unfair kind of way. So by this point I was ready to see what other modes this game had to offer, and the first one is Balloon Hunt. This mode rips off Mario Kart's battle mode balloons, but instead of having you go head to head with other players, the developers instead hid the balloons around the tracks and you have to find them all. It's a decent mode, but I wish they had original maps just for this. Instead, they use the main game's tracks, and that severely limits the amount of challenging hiding spots there are. I feel like if they had fleshed out this mode just a little bit more, it could be a lot of fun, and a lot more fun than it is now, certainly. Also, would it have killed them to make something original rather than stealing Mario Kart's balloons? I mean, geez, trying to imitate the success of a competition is one thing, but blatantly copying them in order to look closer to the original product is pretty ridiculous. The next mode is Tag. It's literally just tag with up to 4 players. This mode alone honestly makes this game a 10 out of 10 for me. The final mode is Time Trials, which is where 1 or 2 players can play on a track for the best time. It's kinda standard in every racer by now, so moving on. The last game type here is the multiplayer mode, which allows you to play any mode in the game as a competition with up to 4 players. Like most multiplayer focused games, multiplayer makes this game way more fun. This, like single player, is due to all the hecticness that happens when playing. Multiplayer can amp this up even further and even make it a lot of fun while playing on the lackluster maps. If you were to play this game, do yourself a favor and play this mode. Except that's impossible, because who would say yes when you ask them if you want to play Sonic R? Absolutely nobody. Now, other than the mediocre track design and game modes, why do people hate this game? Well, here's why. This game has really weird controls. Like, it kinda plays like a platformer and a racing game at the same time. Like, you control the characters like a normal Sonic game, and you can even roll for some reason, which I'm pretty sure nobody does. But it also has a sort of tank controls, like if you stop to turn around, you turn so slow. Like, I put a timer to see how long it took to completely turn without moving, and it takes 5 seconds just to turn. You may be thinking, why would I ever need to turn around in this game? Well, here's why. The normal turning is very loose feeling, and the game doesn't accommodate for it and likes to demand tight turns. So basically, unless you use a double jump, fly, or glide to correct your turn, you basically have to either turn around or in some instances go through the water to get back into the course. Other criticisms is that this game only has 5 courses and is practically a knockoff Mario Kart, and I can't say I disagree with it. It's kind of disappointing if a developer is going to borrow an idea from a competitor and make it their own, that they don't even at least make well-designed courses and add several of them. Like, I'm pretty sure Mario Kart has at least 4 or 5 times the amount of courses this game has, so it's kind of a turnoff in that aspect. Also, the characters in this game are very unbalanced. If you play as Super Sonic or Knuckles, it's basically an instant win. If you play as Tails, Dolls, or Amy, it's an instant lose. And these characters' extra abilities don't even help them out in the game at all. Also, again, let me reiterate how awful the music really is. This game tries so hard to be like Mario Kart, and to give the Saturn a reason to be bought, but unfortunately every aspect of this game is bogged down by counteractive game design. The modes and tracks are limited and unappealing, the characters are annoying to control and unbalanced, the levels are too open, the turns are far too tight for the characters, and it's annoying to get the collectibles, and the balloon mode, while it's fine, it's pretty unimpressive and just shows how much of a Mario Kart ripoff this game really is. And that's Sonic R. The game is the epitome of a mixed bag for me personally. While several areas of the game are fun and have great promise, it all falls flat due to the reasons I have given above. Despite this game being very mediocre, I do recommend trying it for the multiplayer alone. It's not the world or anything, but it is pretty fun to see a bunch of things happen to your friends and then have some other equally as bad things happen to you. But there is still one question left unanswered. Why would I personally recommend you play this game? Honestly, it's because of the tag mode. It honestly makes it a 10 out of 10 for me.